Good evening, everybody. How are we? I hope we're good. So tonight we're going to be launching some new stamps, so we're going to wait for a few people to join in, and then we will get started. I will need to chop up some card, because I did do some, and then I started having a play, and now I've used them. So now I need to do them again. Alrighty. So, right, let me just get you up so I can see your comments. If you're catching up later on Facebook, make sure you check out the other Tryout Tuesdays that are on here, plus some of the really cool videos. Did I say Facebook? I mean, if you're catching up later on YouTube as well. Right, here we are. And I've already turned my sound off, so I don't have to listen to me. So that's nice. You do if you're going to stay, but you can always mute me if you like. I would totally understand. Hello, Alison, Maxine, Linda, Lynn and Martin. How are you doing? Oh, hello. Phone's gone a bit wobbly. Oh, there we are. Okay. Righty-o. Hi, Fiona. Hi, Pearl. What am I doing? Have we all had a fantabulous day? Or at least just an alright day? Sometimes that's enough. Okay. I'm just going to let me share my live. And then we'll get going. Is Sammy here yet? There she is. Okie doke. So this evening we are launching 2 new background stamps. We've actually been holding on to these for a little while, and it's just never seemed like the right time. And then basically Sam and I are impatient and we couldn't wait anymore. So here we are. Alright, so I've actually only got these out to have a play with them today for the first time, because as much as I would love my life to be about playing with all the fantabulous new things that we try and design and try and get made for you, unfortunately it just is not. Do you know what I mean? I would like it to be, but it's not. And plus I'm on the countdown waiting for my kids to finish school, because I love it. Alright, so we have 2 new backgrounds for you today. We have got the So Square, which is followed up by So Circles. You know, after I've designed the stamps, the names, you know, I can be creatively redundant. Okay, now these are really, really exciting. Now what I am hoping to do at some point is have a play with them on a jelly plate, but I think we can all agree that me not playing on my jelly plate enough as much as I want to is a recurring theme. It's something we chat about repeatedly, so that'll be as and when I can. But as I've been playing now, what I've been doing is, because they are quite big, so these are A6 in size. I have put the sizes on the website, but from memory, they're about 94 across, because I don't have a ruler, by, I think it's something like 130-ish. But the actual measurements are on the website, and I did do those today. They are on an introductory price, okay, but normally they will be $11.99, but they are still in for the free P&P that we are doing on stamps, which is excellent. So what I've done is I've put them on, because they are quite big stamps, I've put them on a super skinny slim each, okay, and then basically I've been printing them rather than stamping them, because I found it easier. 134. So I was about right. Okay. So this is just what I've been playing with. I've been picking up some of my tags. You know, my tags I've got to use up. I've still got loads of them. I'd planned to, but then I got waylaid. And I've printed. Now that is Mermaid Lagoon on both of those. They're both Mermaid Lagoon, but that's onto like a fossilised amber background, and that's onto a drippy oxide background of a variety of colours. So I only know that's fossilised amber because I can tell it at 30 paces. So you can really see all these groovy circles and all the detail you get out of that. What I've also done whilst playing, because like I say, as much as that I would like that to be my life, it is not, right, as I've made like a black and white card because I was printing them, okay, and what I've done is I've basically printed on two like one layer both of the backgrounds, and then on another bit I've cut out a section of the sew circles and just laid it up. So that is literally just the card and the black ink. I haven't added anything else to it. I haven't, you know, apart from the sentiment from Mixed Messages, which I'm sure, so that was from Mixed Messages 1, so that's got a load of the Fab Ticker Tape ones on as well. So without having to add any colours or colouring in or anything like that. No, that's not creatively redundant. Is not the phrase you used earlier, Sam. I won't tell you the phrase she used. It had creative in it, but it wasn't redundant. So, you know, just layering up that, because I think they're obviously backgrounds. I've called them backgrounds, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need a feature stamp as well. Okay, they really do hold their own to be that feature if you want them to be. Which I really, really like. So, right, let's move on, and we're going to do some stamping. Now, what I was looking for, I've been tidying up again, and now I can't find anything. If you were my brayer, where would you be, is the question. Who knows? Right, so let's... And when I say my brayer, I mean any of the three I actually possess. Because you know. Alrighty. So, let's ink them up. As we're all aware, I very much need a new Versafine Clair. So we're just going to accept it for what it is. We'll do the square ones first, because I've just shown you a couple of examples of the circle one. So I feel like the square one should get a shout first. Okay, are they all together keeping each other company? Well, the fact that they're all missing together, my darling, would imply that yes, they are, because it means I've tidied them away to a safe place, which I have no idea the location of. Fun enough, I did say to Sam today, I said, Sam, I think we're almost at the point where you're going to have to come up to my craft room and spend an hour in it. And when I say an hour, she's not going to be allowed out for at least 2. So yes, I'm doing this much inking due to the age of my ink pad, not anything to do with the stamp. Okay, and then I'm going to put my piece of card on there, and then I'm just going to rub it. If you had a nice new ink pad, or in fairness, I'm stamping with my Distress Oxides, I haven't been doing it this way, but because my black ink pad is a bit old and decrepit. I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so that is the squares, the sew squares. Now you've got to admit that's cool. And this is why I always stamp them, because I don't think you can necessarily see how cool it is from that. But that, you can see how cool. You've got to admit that's cool. Okay? And obviously, if you were feeling inspired to do so, you could colour all those in. So, you know, that's another way you could use that. Alright. Right, let's get the circles. Sarah Lou, I think we should be able to use the What 3 Words app. Sarah Lou, is your craft room big enough to have the What 3 Words app? Because I know for a fact mine isn't. See, so you can see. Okay, so then we're going to ink up our circles, and then we're going to do the same. And then we're going to do some heat embossing, because I think it was Kim last week sent me a message. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm barely even inking now. About doing some resist techniques. So we're going to do that with our heat embossing. I had a thread on my stamp. You know when you're like, why is there a line? Because there was a thread. And it was not grey hair, it was definitely a thread. Okay. So we're going to ink on there. I'm going to get another piece of card. Put this in the middle. Okay. Kim, it was you, wasn't it, darling? That said about the resist techniques. I'll probably just do like an emboss and resist today. Fab for spotlight techniques. Yes, Alison. They would. Yeah, if we go back to like my card here. You know, you could really just pick out sections. Okay. You could use your smaller Inkables Easy Frames as well to almost pencil that in if you wanted to. So you knew where you were going. If you wanted to do a shape. I am a shape. What's that one? Mr. Maker, I think. Okay. And then we have our circles. Okay, and there's lots of little bits in here. But in fairness, if you wanted to add even more, you could. I think that's what I love about them. You could make them bigger if you wanted to. You could really sort of adjust and add in bits. Okay. It was Mr. Maker. I am a circle. You know, you could add in your Posca and add in a bit more white. You could colour around the edges of it quite well. You know, we might have a go at that in a minute. So, you know, lots and lots of potential, which is what we like. All right. But like I say, I think the thing is, even if you are, for example, this month's challenge in the Bee Crafty Stamps group, if you haven't done it yet, you should have. I've sent you a reminder. Is quick cards. That's a quick card. That's a good quick card. You can make that quick card. Boston. Okay. Right. Also, though, if you have got, for example, like me, you have loads of tags. Okay. And they've got things on them. They're not finished. Okay, so they need finished. Alright. You can take things like this. You can pick a coordinating colour or a clashing colour or something like that. But I'm going to go with a rustic wilderness. Okay. Quick cards, Sarah. Well, then it is definitely a challenge, isn't it? Some quick cards. But in fairness, I think it's, when you say quick cards to someone, it really depends on the person as to what that means. Okay? So, for example, Sarah Lou, say your cards normally take you 2 hours a piece. Okay? So, if you can do one in an hour, that's a quick card. If you're normally a person whose cards take no more than an hour, one of the, you know, if you could do one in 15 minutes, then that would be a quick card. Okay? So we're going to just make sure you peel that off. And then you've got your background on, ready to go. So it's already most of the way towards complete. And then you can go to your, like, chopped out stash, any of your bits and pieces. For example, you could start adding your bits in. So it's just an easy way of going to the next stage of getting projects completed. Alright. So someone was saying about the spotlight technique. Alright, so if you were going to... Now, when I'm doing a spotlight technique, I like to have a shape to work around. Personally, I'm not saying if you don't do that, you're wrong. And I'm not going to be able to find any of my inkables that easy phones, am I? Like I said, I've been tidying, and we all know things go missing when I tidy. Okay, so I can't use my inkables right now. But say you were doing a spotlight technique and you were going to do this. What I would do is just do a light pencil line around there. Strong enough so that you can see it, but not, because you can always rub it out after. Okay, and then using your eco lines, we'll grab those. Okay, you then basically work your colour inside that circle and you don't come out of it. Alright, so you would, in fairness, I would normally heat emboss before doing my spotlight technique, because I just think it gives you a stronger finish. But that's just me. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll just work around the edge so you can see what we mean. Okay, so just for demonstration purposes, I probably should have chosen a smaller circle, but whatever. I think I'm going to stick with blues and greens. Might throw a yellow in there as well. Okay, but what I would do is I would also colour in that bit outside the frame, as it were. Outside the stamp, sorry. But inside the spotlight. So you can see that you can start to see the shape that we're colouring in take place as the circle. So I have another blue. Let's go for some yellow. Okay, so you can really start to see the fact that we're following that circle, but everything outside of it is staying black and white. Yeah? I'll do a little bit more just to show you, and then we will move on and do some resist. Like I said, I think I would heat emboss, but that being said, if you had a better, if your black ink pad's embedded in it, you'd probably be fine. Here we go. But I think that's enough to give you like the idea of the spotlight. Okay, because it's just following the line of that circle that we've drawn, and then you can put a sentiment or something on underneath, just to give you an idea. Okay, well, right, so let's do my least favourite thing to do live. I mean, it's one of my favourite things to do, but live in front of you guys. Well, live in front of anybody, it's not just you, I promise. It's not you, it's me. Is do some heat embossing. Okay, so we're going to need some more cards. Now, I'm actually going to cut these into slightly smaller sections, because if we're doing technique things, no, in fact, no, I won't. I can always cut them down later if I want to anyway. Alright. So in terms of heat emboss as well, I think these would work very nicely, for example, in multiple colours. So if you're using your embossing glazes and you were going in several different colours, I think that would look really, really cool. We might have a go at that in a minute, but we'll just do one colour for now. Let's not overcommit ourselves, shall we? Right, I'm going to go with the green one. The green one. Sorry, it's because it's put green. The squares. So let me just give that a bit of a wipe off first. Okay, and then we're going to get some Versamark. And for our embossing powder, we're going to go with a detailed clear. Alright, so we'll get our piece of card here and our Versamark. We're going to ink this up. Lots and lots and lots of Versamark. Oh, it's J-Mac. Okay, so like I said, we're really showing you here how these new backgrounds can be a feature, but obviously they're going to work really well just as a part of your art journaling background, mark making, on your jelly plate, anything like that. They're nice bold lines, so if you do worry about, you know, when you have narrow lines to work with, you don't need to worry with these because they're not. Okay. They're chunky lines. And we go in for that sort of stuff around here. Alright. So we're just going to, like I say, because this is a big background stamp, I'm really going to use the flex of my Super Skinny Slims. Remember, we flex, we do not bend. Okay. Then we're going to lift that up. We're going to take another one of these cards. See, I didn't get all the black ink off, did I? So now I'm going to have to change for a colour. But it's alright. I'm going to go for white. So I still get the effect I want. Alright. Now I will say, for this stamp, you definitely don't need to use your super fine white. If you've just got a white one, then I would go with that. Because there isn't really any super fine lines on. So you can sort of see where the powder is. Brilliant. Oh. And then we're going to heat emboss that. So as soon as that powder starts to turn, there we go, I will move on. To be honest, I think this would almost stamp really well with it like an ultra thick as well. You lose probably a few of the dashes, but nothing major. Okay, but I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to grab my white. And whilst it's warm, oh dear, that's not what I meant to do at all. I'm going to go in with my white again. Just to give it a little bit of an extra layer. I never get bored in watching embossing powder melt either. It's one of the first things I learned how to do with a stamp, and I still love it. It's like magic. Okay. Now, a bit of the dark ink is showing through, but I'm really not that worried about it. If you are, clean your stamps better than me. It's honestly that simple. Okay? Okay. Right. Now, from here, we're going to grab my palette, because it has lots of ink in it, because I don't clean it. Because why would I? That would involve wasting the ink that's in it, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to grab my blending mat, because there's some ink on that too. Alright. And I'm going to grab quite a big brush. I think I'm going to go for my Dina Wakley number 16. Okay. I'm going to start with the ink on my mat. I'm going to bring that in. I'll possibly go for some more blue that's been sitting on my palette. Okay. Add a bit more water, blend them together. Okay. Then we're going to go back into this yellowy here. So again, this would count as a quick card for me. This is quick. Oh, that's good green. Oh, that's a bit green. Okay. Set that out of the way. And then I'm literally going to grab my painted towel. Okay. And just rub off any of the paint that's sitting on the embossing. And that's that. And then you've got that fab resisted image. Okay. And you could, you could add some more. For example, say, no, I actually want to cut that out. So I need the colours to be more varied within. Or, no, do you know what? I just like the blue a bit more. You can go back in. Okay. And just buff off the excess again. And if it's not doing as much as you want, just to add some water and go, okay? Because basically, your embossing powder is an enamel, okay? So if you think the ink is sticking to it a little bit, just go over it with some water, if you use a water-based ink, obviously. Okay, and then you'll find any bits that were probably sticking to it before will just lift off. Okay, and then you've got this sort of awesome background. And like I say, you can cut that out if you want, or you could just lay that up onto your card and you're pretty much good to go. Alright, square's good. Okay, so I did say about not using multicoloured distress embossing glaze, and obviously you can also colour wash with that, which is pretty cool. But what we'll do is we'll do that with the circles. I can't lie, when I'm demoing, I do like to lean towards squares sometimes, because I think we're all, as crafters, we're all sort of automatically drawn towards circles. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why we are, but we are. We're just drawn to these circles. So sometimes I think we miss out on the potential of a square. I definitely don't want that to happen. Right. So I'm going to try and clean off my circles a bit better, but I make no promises. Alright, so is everybody with me though? Circles are, they are magical, aren't they, my darling? Circles are, but that's why, as daft as it sounds, then I have to show you the squares more. But I won't. I said I'd do the circles, so I will. Alright. Let me pick out some colours first, otherwise this will get very complicated. Let's go with... Have I got picked raspberry? Why don't I have picked raspberry? Okay. So I'll tell you what. Let's go for some ones that really clash. Let's go for a Twisted Citron, followed by a Villainous Potion, and then a Kitsch Flamingo, and Salty Ocean. Is everyone okay with that? Ooh, a Crackling Campfire. I'm going to change the Kitsch Flamingo for a Crackling Campfire. Can't lie, looks a bit Halloweeny. But I'm okay with that. Okay. So a Versamark. Don't do this if you are insistent that no grain of any embossing powder ever goes into an opposing tub. It's not worth the heartache. It's worth the effect. And it really is just embossing powder. So calm down. Okay. Right. So we're going with these colours here. So we're going to stamp. Move that out of the way. I'm going to end up with a line in the middle. I'm going to stamp our circles straight in the middle. We will be getting the new colour Distress Glazes in. However, I'd hate to say when, because at the minute our orders from Ranger are not coming very complete. If you're a purist, that's the word, Sammy. If you're a purist, it's not for you. Okay. So we've got our Versamark on there. So I'm going to go in with my Twisted Citron up here. And yes, I do say it funny, Sam thinks so too. I'm going to tip that off. Put that back in the jar. Okay, and then we're going to go with our Villainous Potion. And this is where, because it has to go over the join. I'm going to tip that down. And then back into it. I was going to say, Sam is very particular about keeping everything separate. And I'm pretty confident she would do this. So it's all alright. Again, over the join. And in fairness, I don't think a little bit of salty ocean in a villainous potion is going to ever upset anyone. So you could always just sort of stay within colour family. I've pinged too much of that off. And then you won't have to worry too much. Okay. And then a crackling campfire. Funny, I was talking last week about what an underrated colour rustic wilderness was. I think crackling campfire as well. But I think that's partially down to it was just so vivid. Nobody was prepared for it. It was such an intense sort of orangey. We were just like, whew, don't really know. Right. So again, so if you haven't seen embossing glazes before, where have you been? But basically, okay, so they're an embossing powder. That's what they are. Let's not pretend they're anything other than that, because they are. However, they are translucent, not opaque. Okay? So for example, if you put your crackling campfire embossing glaze over a fossilized amber background, it will create a different colour than if you put your crackling campfire embossing glaze over a green or blue background. Say you put it over a twisted citron background, because it's translucent. So, but what that means is you get a fantastic array of possibility of colour with each embossing glaze. Yeah, I've pinged them off too much. They're not as glazy as I'd hoped. But you can see them a little bit, especially on that corner there. Okay? But it just means you've got that embossed... It's not showing up very well, but I promise it is. That embossed... It's only that corner that's really shiny. That embossed, but with those different glazes and colours. Okay? And like I said, I know I'm really focusing on making these background stamps a feature instead of just, but you'll know if, oh yeah, I'll use that as a background stamp, but what I'm trying to do is show you how you can use it as something else as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back a section, for example, and we're going to go, there's something I specifically wanted to show you, now I can't remember what it was. Let's emboss in gold. I'll tell you for why. Okay? Most of you will testify to this, those of you that do heat emboss. When you start heat embossing, okay, I honestly would tell you that gold is a great colour to start with. The reason being is when you buy a gold embossing powder, okay, it's disappointing in a way because it's brown. Alright, it's brown. But it's only when it turns it goes that beautiful colour. But you can see it easily as well. You can really see it easily. Or should I heat emboss a glaze on something else so you can see it? Now we're down the glaze rabbit hole. Yes, let's do this. Let's do that. Okay, so I've got, so we can see these colours here on white. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the squares. Oh. I need a stronger colour. Squares. I want to do them over... Oh, here we go. Over here, and I'm going to do the crackling campfire. Okay, so I've got myself all in a pickle, got excited. Right, so we're going to ink up our Versamark onto our sew squares. Okay, oh sorry, yes, both of these are on an introductory price. I can't remember if I told you that, but that will only be till Friday. Right, Well, it might be till the weekend, but it depends on stock and all that sort of thing, doesn't it? Right, so I'm going to ink that up with the Versamark. And then I'm going to do it this way to make sure. Peel that off. And then we're going to go on here with our crackling campfire. What kind of pickle would I be? Oh, I don't know. Pickle lily. Okay. So you can already see it's a darker, richer colour. I'm going to burn my fingers. Okay. So, if you look at so there's crackling campfire and blossoming glaze on white. If you look at those squares on the green tag, okay, it's a much darker, more deeper rust colour, okay? So that's what I'm saying with your embossing glazes, because they're translucent, the colour behind, usually your embossing powders are opaque. If you stamp and emboss gold on whatever colour, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what ink you use. If you're using a gold embossing powder, it's gold. That's it. Okay? But with your embossing glazes, with your distressed glazes, it's translucent. So the colour at the back plays a part, which is great because it means it really does sort of open up the effects you can do with your embossing glazes. Okay? Righty-ho. So, I think I'm pretty... Yes, copper. Yeah, copper. It's like a really dark, rusty, coppery colour, I have to say. We have... Let's face it, we've stamped them a few times now. The new backgrounds. So you've got so squares, so square, and so circles. Okay. And there's just a black and white card that I made before. So you can really have a play with these. Like I say, they're adopting the colour from behind. So think of your colour wheel. Alright. So if you use, for example, your salty ocean on a mustard seed background, or say you've done it with Dilutions ink and it was your lemon zest or something like that, you are going to get a green. You've got to think of your colour theory when you're using your embossing glazes. Or you can not think of your colour theory, be like me, fly by the seat of pants, and then just be really excited by whatever happens. And go, yay! That's also a plan, you know? It's good to know it, but don't let it rule your life. Colour theory, you know, why? It's good to make sure nothing terrible is going to happen, but you know what's terrible is going to happen. It's card. Everything's fine. No disasters can happen. All right then, my lovelies. Thank you so much for joining me. Sam has put the links on to the new stamps on the website, so make sure you go and check those out. Sally's done a post on the blog today for a little journal page, very, very nice. Do make sure you check out the blog. The beautiful creative team do step-by-step instructions with photos for all of their projects, so if you're looking for some inspiration, they are the people to speak, because they go through it step by step, and because it's photos, you can take your time. You don't have to pause or scroll back or anything like that. Please check out the YouTube channel, and if you have any other questions, please get in touch and we will do everything we can to help. Alright then guys, have a fantastic rest of your week. Bye bye.